Well, I've been suffering for about 5 years now, I'd say, from just achy lower back. At first, it was like just a sciatic nerve problem, that the left side of my back and lower back. It started off there, and pretty soon it was like traveling everywhere, to the point where the doctors would ask me, "Where does it hurt?" And it was like everywhere now on my back, everywhere between my shoulder blades, the middle of my back, my lower back, and still my left side, lower left side. The sciatic nerve runs, and my neck. I was in a lot of pain too. I couldn't sleep. It came to a point where I couldn't even walk very far without, hurting. So I didn't like going shopping anymore. Not that I'm a shopaholic, but just I couldn't do the, simple task of walking. And so I tried physical therapy through the doctor. I've tried cortisone shots. I've done prolotherapy, where they inject like glucose water right into your back, wherever your pain is, and that relieves the pressure on your nerves. So, and that helped for a little while, but then it would come back, and it's very costly. So, I went for a while, but each time it came back, the pain came back. So then I tried acupuncture. I've for a long time, acupuncture, massage therapy, you name it. I think I've tried it all. Chiropractors, the regular chiropractors, where they wrench your back and really you hear the cracking and all that. Yeah, the traditional chiropractic therapy. I've done that, and the chiropractic work seemed to make it worse. After a while, I was thinking, I wonder if I'm irritating my nerves by, all these adjustments. So I took a break from it, and sure enough, it started getting a little better. And then I heard about Dr. Brewitt and Upper Cervical Hawaii, and just from this magazine. And I went online and researched upper cervical, and that's all over the United States, So I read about it, what it does, and it made sense. Correct the atlas vertebrae, the top vertebrae, and the rest should follow along. And testimonies, I read testimonies, and I thought, wow, this sounds good, because I wasn't sure if I had fibromyalgia, because fibromyalgia is also pain that's, everywhere. You can't really say where it is, because it's like everywhere. So I just didn't know what to do. So I saw him, and upon the I would say maybe the third treatment from Dr. Brewitt, I noticed my sciatic nerve pain. That was the worst. That was I had from the beginning, right? And that was markedly improved. Yeah. So I thought, wow, that's good. And then, my neck was bothering me, so I couldn't sleep. Well, that went away. Yeah. And so the 4th, 5th, 6th, and then I did a whole series of treatments from Dr. Brewitt, and it worked. It was like it started in the beginning. My vertebrae wasn't holding the atlas vertebrae. It would come, be out again. I go back to him, out again. But gradually, it started holding until not too many treatments later. It was holding. It was staying, and then I just since then I've just been coming for like, what do you call that?
Maintenance.
Just maintenance, right? Just maintenance. And I've been feeling great. I can bend down now, bend over now. I have 3 little dogs, and that was painful before, to bend over and pick them up or pet them or clean them, whatever. Now I can bend over, and it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt anymore. I can tie my shoelaces, without this left side hurting, and shoulder blade, everything. It just seemed to miraculously disappear. So yeah, so I thought, wow, that's really cool. Because nothing else worked before. I thought, that's it. I think I'm doomed to suffer forever. And as I get older, it's just going to get worse, right? But yeah, so yes, I was definitely out, Dr. Burwood said, and pulling one, side. My leg was longer on one side than the other, and soon it was, even. Right after first treatment, it was even. Right after the first treatment, and then, like I said, slowly, it starts holding. Even at my age, I thought, it's going to take a while before it starts holding because so many years it's been out. But the Atlas, no, it's like, wow, it's there's hope for me. And so I've been referring people, and everyone I referred to has found relief, and are impressed. So I just really believe in what he does. Oh yes. Yes, he was a mess, and this is his whole life.
Yeah, so
mine is past 5 years. His is
my whole life I've had back pain.
Mm-hmm.
As I look back, I think that actually it started when I was a young man, high school age. Say, my dad used to love to build stuff, and he did a lot of masonry, and I was the hog carrier. I was the one who mixed the mortar, carried the brick and all that. And I learned after that if you do that kind of work when your body is still forming, it can be really harmful on your body. But at any rate, by the time I was in college, I had severe back pain. I mean, the kind of pain where you'd be out on the floor and can't move, can't get to the bathroom. I mean, really bad pain. I came to Hawaii in 1974 looking for work, and tried everywhere. I even went to Dole Cannery, and at that time, that's where you go to get a job if nobody else will hire you. And the physician there said, "Your back is so bad that we are not going to hire you." He said, "By the time you're 50, you won't be able to walk because you have degenerative spine disease. You have spurs on your spine. You have scoliosis. You're just a wreck." So they wouldn't even hire me there. So I took what he said to heart and said, well, I'm not going to end up not being able to walk when I'm 50. So I started doing Tai Chi and, watching what I ate, watching my weight and everything, and just trying to live as healthy as I could. And I started actually seeing a chiropractor way back then. It was the traditional kind of chiropractor. And it did give me relief, but it was only temporary relief. So it was like, it always went out. I always had to have it fixed. It was just, I thought that's how my life would be. Since then, I've tried massage, acupuncture, prolotherapy, just like my wife, Pam. You name it, I've done it. Physical therapy, and of course, martial arts, trying to learn how to move in a proper way. But maybe about 15 years ago, I was in a yoga swing, hanging upside down, and the swing broke. And I fell on my head straight down, like about 2 feet onto a ceramic floor. And at that time, I thought I'd fractured my spine because I was completely paralyzed. I couldn't move. I couldn't even yell out to call my wife to call the ER. But through God's grace, I wasn't paralyzed. I didn't even fracture my spine. After that, of course, I still had back pain. I went to a chiropractor a few years after that, and he had me stand on 2 scales to see, how heavy each side was, just like Dr. Joe does. And at that time, one side was 20 pounds heavier than the other, just standing on the 2 scales. So I asked the chiropractor, why is that? And he said, oh, it's scoliosis. It's curvature of the spine. I said, well, why do I have scoliosis? He said, well, that's just, everybody has scoliosis, some amount. So he had me do traction. He had this fancy machine, hooked me up. I paid a lot of money and had a course of treatment, and it didn't really change anything. It didn't help me that much. So I thought, like Pam, I was just stuck with this. I'm going to live with this pain, so just try and manage it. And I don't like painkillers and all that, but sometimes I just have to take them, life went on. Since then, I've still tried a lot of different kinds of things. But when we, went to Dr. Joe for the first time, I didn't know about the atlas and upper cervical prior to that. None of the chiropractors that I went to knew about that. And they were all the kind that would just pop you and you'd hear the crack. And actually it helped me a lot because my spine would be out, and then once it was back in, I could move, I could function, but it was really a harsh type of treatment. And as I get older too, I found out that I was also ill for a number of years and on chemotherapy, and that destroyed my bone density. So in addition to having all these other problems, now I have low bone density, so I couldn't really go to the chiropractors that do the harsh adjustment because I could break a bone, So I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but Dr. Joe, did all his assessments, which I'm a scientist. I do research. I like to see proof, of things. And I was impressed by his assessment process. It's scientific. He actually measures the conductivity of nerves and muscles in your back to show. He asked me beforehand, where does it hurt? I said, like my wife, I said, from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. Everything is sore. So we looked at the diagram that came out of the assessment, and sure enough, it was all red, all the way down. Yep, you got, it showed that the vertebrae were pinching the nerves, and the muscles weren't functioning correctly, and everything was tight, and that's, why I had pain. Then he had me stand on the 2 scales, and by that time, one side was 15 pounds heavier. And I said, well, why is that? He said, oh, probably because your atlas is out of place. I said, oh, now that makes sense. Because the atlas is the top vertebra. So everything else depends on that vertebra for alignment. If that's out, naturally everything else is going to be out. And no matter how much you adjust the rest of it, it's still going to be out because the top one is out. So I thought, okay, well, we'll give this a shot. So we did the initial assessment. We did the first x-ray. He said, yes, your atlas is out. And that was the other thing that really impressed me, was to go on the website and see if your atlas is out in this position, this is how it affects your body. And all the nerves that are connected to the vertebra are impacted, and your circulation, your inner organ function, everything is connected, So he did the first adjustment. Right after the first adjustment, we went back in and I stood on the 2 scales, 1 pound different. I mean, that was sold. I said, wow, that, my big old fat head was off to one side, and that caused my entire body to be out. That atlas vertebra was out. The fall on the head plus other things in my life, probably just got it out, and nothing else gets it back in but an adjustment from a trained chiropractor in upper cervical. So we started coming, and just like Pam, at first it was twice a week we came in, and every time I came in, my atlas was out. And then after a few weeks, it would stay. It would hold for that second visit. So, we still came for a couple times a week, but we bought the plan so that we didn't have to pay as much for each visit, which was really nice. And under that plan, you come as much as you need to. If you need to come twice a week for the whole 6 months, you can, which is more than the number of visits you pay. But still, that was very nice to know that he's more interested in you getting the care you need, and he's trying to help you by giving you a payment plan that reduces the number, the amount each visit costs, which I really appreciated. So after a while, I only needed to come in once a week because it's holding. So there's hope that your body, even though it's been out for so long, can learn the proper position and hold the proper position. So sure enough, it started holding. So it went a week at a time. After a while, it held for the week. So then I could move to 2 weeks, once every 2 weeks, because it held for 2 weeks, from being out every day to holding for 2 weeks at a time. So we kept coming, and then, it held for a month at a time. Mm-hmm. So we moved to 1 month visits. So this went on for 6 months. We finished the 6 month assessment, and there was progress. The 6 months of treatment, we went for that 6 month plan, and then we did the assessment after the 6 months, and it showed that there was progress being made. I felt so much better. I mean, the constant pain I had, I couldn't eat. Every morning I'd get out of bed, my back was sore. That was gone. I felt tremendously better. And then, one day I was feeling sassy. I went to the Y, I worked out, and I went out in the backyard and I lifted this bucket of dirt. It's heavy. And when I lifted, I didn't lift properly. I didn't, squat and lift. I must have, been lifting the wrong way. I felt this, and I couldn't move. It was like, I'd reversed 6 months of chiropractic care. So I thought, oh boy, I really did it this time, So I called the doc and I said, I gotta see you tomorrow. So he fit me in, I came to see him. He did the assessments. He said, you're in perfect alignment. I said, what? How can I be in perfect alignment? I could hardly walk over here. I couldn't even drive the car. I was so sore. He said, what happens sometimes is your body is misaligned for so long. There's a part of it that just doesn't want to go into alignment. And what happened when I was out in the yard is I forced that remaining holdout into place. So now my body's in perfect alignment, but it's not used to being in perfect alignment. The short muscles are too long, the long muscles are too short, everything's complaining because it doesn't feel right that I'm aligned, but I'm perfectly aligned. So then I started, really focusing on how to move to maximize that perfect alignment, sit properly, walk properly, have good breathing, and within a couple weeks, the new pain went away. I'm stronger than ever. Today, before we came over here, yesterday I was, working in the yard again, moving a big concrete bench in our backyard, digging in the yard, working hard. I'm not favoring my body anymore, although I'm trying to work safely and carefully, and I can do it. It's like I crossed the threshold of that 6 months, and the body finally got aligned, and I feel I've had allergies for many, many years, and I'm doing working with the food that I'm taking too. But I know this cervical adjustment helped my allergies. The back pain is gone. I feel like I have more energy. I feel that I can do things. I don't have that sense of depression of thinking I'm stuck with back pain for the rest of my life. There's actually hope, and the proof is in the fact that the adjustment is holding. Today we had an adjustment before coming here, and it was aligned. My atlas is aligned. That's amazing, I tell all my friends.
Yeah, even your knees.
The knees, the feet. That's another thing. When we would walk, we do a lot of walking, and Pam would say, "Your feet are going out. You don't look straight." And I wanted to improve my posture, the way my body is moving, and I couldn't get my feet to go straight. They just wanted to go like a duck, out. But now my feet are perfectly aligned. My knees, legs, thighs, pelvic area. I still get a little rotation. It's a layover from my history, but it's so much better. Shoulders. She said, "Oh, I never thought your back could be straight."
Yeah, I never did. I thought you would always have this rounded back.
Now, my back is straight. My whole body is straight.
You can actually pull his shoulders back.
So
it was difficult
it's a miracle.
to put it back.
It's miraculous how this simple adjustment has changed my life. Really changed my life, and I'm so happy.